Yo, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Mostly Low Budget Movie Reviews. I am your host, Clarence. Thank you for tuning in. It's time for another review, and today I chose to get some of this content out. And yes, I will be reviewing that big movie that came out this weekend. In fact, it will be the next podcast I drop, but I wanted to get some of this content out right away because I got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. So be on the lookout because this is going to be the first of a few that I have planned. And this is one of those just random ones I just picked out of Amazon. It's called Accident. Now, there's no one in this of note that I recognized. And, by the looks of it, this movie certainly fits the title of my podcast. But what is this one about? Well, we have these two college girls that want to go to a concert, but the plan they have to drive down with friends falls apart. Now, while hitchhiking, they're on the road waiting for a ride, and they almost get hit by these guys. And one of the friends decides that, hey, let's get a ride with these guys. And she talks to her friend, she talks her into it, and she's like, hey, they're harmless, it's no big deal. Fast forward. They're driving in the rain, and one of the girls is, in the backseat making out with one of the guys, and it's all good. The vibe is fine. Until she starts telling him to, hey, slow down, let's wait, not right now. And then he starts getting aggressive because, he can't wait apparently. And, it turns into a fight. Her girlfriend tries to help her, and it causes the car to veer off the road and crash. They wake up upside down at the bottom of a hill or something, and actually that's where I'm going to stop. From there, they need to figure out how to get out of there and get some help. Now, there's no critic score on this one. It had one review, and it was negative, and the audience came in at a 20% on the Rotten scale with less than 50 reviews, so not a whole lot of people bothered to review this one if they've seen it anyway. But what did I think? Well, let's start with the positives. And as you guys know by now, I like things to be not, standard and keep me off balance. And what I liked about the setup of this is they just get into it. They don't really give you a whole lot of background on the people involved, which is fine. It's kind of thin, but that's fine. Except they do this flashback and kind of explain some things about the guys that they're with. And they give us some background, and the situation is a little more dire than, expected when you first start watching it. And it's another one of these one-location type movies, and they use the location fine. It also did a pretty decent job initially of building some suspense. Once they revealed, the deal with the dude and their transportation, spoiler-free, I figured out pretty quickly where it was going to go. But however, it did try to add an extra layer to the story, and that actually was really needed for, what was going on here. But the ending is where I really need to start these negatives. Spoiler free, but these must have been the, not just for the making of the movie, but, the story. These had to be the most low budget bad guys ever. I mean, they had the absolute worst aim. The helicopter pilot, he couldn't fly. They couldn't fight. I mean, this was a grown man, elite soldier of some kind, and he got the brakes beat off him by an injured female that clearly couldn't fight and had no training. I mean, I knew this was where it was going to go, but it was worse than I thought. Then, for some reason, they started using these Final Destination type special effects, where they show the different angles where the brake line, the camera will follow all the way down the brake line to show what something bad is going to happen or the accident or whatever. And they use it in this movie, which felt really out of place. And it was a very poor choice because clearly their budget couldn't handle these kind of special effects because it wasn't anything too believable or didn't look good at all. Let's see. You don't really care about any of these characters. Like I said, the way they started it was pretty thin. They only gave us backstory on the guys that that picked them up, and they weren't likable at all. And finally, there really is only one way that this could end. And with all this uninteresting stuff going on, the ending is just as bland as the rest of it. But I don't want to beat this one up too much. Let me bottom line this one for you. Did I enjoy it? Yeah, no, not at all. This isn't a bait and switch. I agree with that 20% the audience gave it. The only thing I liked about this was they at least tried to add an extra layer to the story by adding what was going on with those guys in the background and gave us a bit something else to think about while they were down, rolled over in this hill. Which did keep things a bit of a mystery for a minute, but then they ruined that. They should have just kind of leaked what was going on over the time with those guys instead of just, blowing their whole load all at once and just showing us everything. It would have at least kept us in the dark a little longer, because once they do the reveal and, that part's done, then you kind of know exactly what's going to happen, and, they didn't execute it in any kind of an original way or any way that you want to really pay attention to it. So yeah, definite skip on this one, and you will can find some other random movie to watch instead of this one. So yeah, Accident. Yeah, don't check that one out. You're good. You can live the rest of your life and never see this movie and won't regret it one bit. And with that being said, I'm going to close it out right here. If this is your first time, don't make it your last. This has been a Podbean production, mostly low-budget movie reviews with Clarence. Of course, you guys know, check out my social media, same name for everything, Facebook, Instagram. I have a TikTok where I do some different content over there. Still doing reviews and also some other things. So yeah, thank you again for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.